Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Guys, it don't red. Say some of you guys no know say all these things wey dey happen to Nigeria, the US they are aware. Do you understand? All this insecurity, all this nonsense wey dey happen, they are aware. They are seeing the videos, they are seeing the evidences. But the former administration, which is the Joe Biden administration, they no care. They don't care about anything wey dey happen for Nigeria for over how many years? For over how many years? Now, this present administration of Trump, they don't chook eye into Nigeria matter. You understand? And I pray that God will help them to do the right thing. They don't chook eye into Nigeria matter. So, guys, what do you think about this video? I want you to watch this to the end. Not just that, subscribe to this channel so that you will follow up on the update concerning this issue. Watch this video to the end, because at the end of this video, get wetin shock me what happened for this video. Watch video guys and subscribe, hit the subscribe button and then turn on notification button so that when I drop further updates concerning this issue, you'll get notified.
Antony Blinken later suggested in a meeting with USERF members, which I was present, that these massacres were caused by climate change, that desperate Fulani herders were simply looking for pasture land. Let me be clear, this is not about climate change. It's about a violent extremist ideology that seeks to eliminate Christianity from Nigeria's northern and central regions. The evidence is undeniable. This is systematic religious violence. The U.S. government must act, and they must act now. Nigeria must be redesignated a country of particular concern. Biden administration's removal of this designation was a reckless mistake that emboldened the very terrorists who are slaughtering Christians. The evidence overwhelmingly meets the legal threshold under the International Religious Freedom Act of 1998, which requires CPC status for governments that engage in or tolerate severe violations of religious freedom.
The hearing conducted by House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on Africa, they titled it Conflict and Persecution in Nigeria. This subcommittee is under the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and like Rep. Chris Smith said, they have authorized President Trump to redesignate Nigeria as a CPC. And of course, if they redesignate Nigeria as a CPC, it means there might be sanctions coming the way of Nigeria. Now, the Nigerian government has responded to this. By the way, this event happened 2 days ago. They have released a statement through the Ministry of Information denying that any Christian persecution is going on in Nigeria. The facts speak for themselves. Going by the testimony of the Reverend Father from Makurdi, the past 10 years alone, more than 55,000 Christians have been killed in Nigeria. Let's see the press release by the Nigerian government. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs expresses deep concern over the recent wave of misinformation and misleading reports alleging targeted killings of Christians in Nigeria. This unfortunate development appears to be aimed at influencing foreign governments, particularly the United States, to designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern, CPC, due to purported violence against Christians. While the federal government acknowledges the security challenges confronting the nation, it is imperative to clarify that these incidents are not driven by religious bias or targeted against any particular religious group. Notably, the majority of insurgency and banditry-related incidents in the predominantly Muslim northern region of Nigeria do not specifically target followers of any faith or religion. Any narrative attempting to frame such incidents as religious persecution is erroneous and misleading. Nigeria is a multi-ethnic and multi-religious nation, and the government remains committed to protecting the lives and property of all citizens, regardless of faith, ethnicity, or gender. The country's security challenges are complex and multifaceted, manifesting in criminality, terrorism, and communal clashes, including farmer-herder conflicts that are not rooted in religious motivations. A lot of things they said that are too long to accommodate in this video. Like already said, the facts speak for themselves. If you look at the testimony of the witnesses that came to testify in this hearing, you will see the facts looking at you in the face. Despite the fact that the government might try to deny them, the fact remains that there is premeditated motive by many of these people that are always sacking Christian communities. From Southern Kaduna to Plateau State to Makurdi, many places around Nigeria. You see them, they invade communities and they burn down their properties. After sacking the entire community, they will burn down the community, their homes, everything. So what is the motive behind burning down people's property? It's as simple as they don't want them to come back there anymore. They are after the land. They want to occupy the place, put serious terror in the minds of the people living there. They will never come back. In most cases, these types of attack happen. The remaining people always pack their bags and all their belongings and run away from the community. What does it mean? The worst part is that most of these people are never caught. None of them has ever been brought to trial. And they continue attacking communities. They continue displacing people. There are thousands, if not to 1 million people living in IDP camps across Nigeria, despite the fact that the country is not at war. Now, let's hear some important details in the hearing.
According to the Catholic News Agency and EWTN News, quote, Archbishop Ignatius Kagama is concerned over the seemingly endless violence against Christians that claimed at least 58 lives this past weekend and hundreds of others in recent weeks. It is our prayer, he said, that something definitive will be done to stop the situation that is inhuman. Shockingly, that was more than a dozen years ago and part of my opening remarks at a hearing that I held on July 10th, 2012. One of several hearings, 8 in all, on religious persecution in Nigeria. And since then, things have only gotten worse. 1 year later, in 2013, I visited Archbishop Kagama in Jos, Nigeria. We visited churches, 5 of them that had been recently firebombed by Boko Haram, and spent hours listening to survivors tell their stories. Despite their numbing loss and pain, I was absolutely amazed at the survivors about their faith, very deep faith, their courage and resilience. They were not going to quit, but they were looking to the government for help, and it was not coming. I also met with an evangelical believer named Habila Adamu. Dragged from his home by Boko Haram terrorists, he was ordered to renounce his faith. With an AK-47 pressed to his face, he was asked, "Are you ready to die as a Christian?" With extraordinary courage, Habila answered, "Yes, I am ready to die as a Christian." He was asked a second time, and he repeated his answer. His wife was pleading, "Please don't kill my husband." And yet he said, "Yes, I am ready to die as a Christian." This time, the terrorist pulled the trigger. A bullet ripped through Habila's face. He crumpled to the ground, bleeding profusely, left for dead. By some miracle, he survived. I met him at an IDP camp in Jos. I asked him to come to Washington to tell his story. He did. And at the congressional hearing, he said this to our subcommittee, this subcommittee: "I am alive because God wants you to have this message. Knowing Christ is so much deeper than merely knowing Boko Haram's story of hate and intolerance." He closed his testimony with this: "Do everything you can to end this ruthless religious persecution, but know Christ first." To the end, everything he did was to witness, to radiate his love for God, but he was also calling on us to get involved and do something. Since then, however, the wanton violence against Christians in Nigeria has grown significantly worse. A couple of days ago, the Pillar Catholic reported, and I quote, "While Christians are receiving ashes last Wednesday to begin Lent, news broke out in Nigeria that a priest had been brutally murdered by kidnappers who had stormed his rectory the night before and kidnapped him. With deep sorrow and righteous indignation, I condemn in the strongest terms the relentless and tragic wave of kidnappings, targeting priests, pastoral agents, and the faithful," Bishop Kundi said in a March 7th, just a couple days ago, press conference, which expressed outrage over the kidnaps and the brutal murder of his priests.